I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We are again continuing in Alma. This is the war chapters. We're skipping around a bit. We've read the events of the 26th year of the reign of the judges. That was the year in which Amalickiah brought his men up, conquered much of the east, but was eventually stopped by Teancum, who assassinates him in his sleep. And then Ammoron is made king. He divides the Lamanite army into an eastern and western theater of war to try to divide and surround the Nephites. Moroni has to go to the west to strengthen the forces and the fortifications out there, and then he goes back to join Teancum. After he strengthens the west, Helaman brings his 2,000 Stripling Warriors to join the army in the west, which is led by Antipus. Now in the 27th year, we read in the east, basically just preparing for war because they don't have enough of an army to go against the Lamanites as long as the Lamanites are staying in the fortifications. We're coming back now to the west, reading a bit more about Helaman and Antipus and the 2,000 Stripling Warriors. This is chapter 56. Picking this up in verse 21, we will finish the chapter out. Now we were desirous that the Lamanites should come upon us, for we were not desirous to make an attack upon them in their strongholds. And it came to pass that we kept spies out round about, to watch the movements of the Lamanites, that they might not pass us by night, nor by day, to make an attack upon our other cities, which were in the northward. For we knew in those cities they were not sufficiently strong to meet them. Therefore we were desirous, if they should pass by us, to fall upon them in their rear, and thus bring them up in the rear at the same time they were met in the front. We supposed that we could overpower them. But behold, we were disappointed in this our desire. They durst not pass by us with their whole army, neither durst they with a part, lest they should not be sufficiently strong, and they should fall. Neither durst they march down against the city of Zarahemla, neither durst they cross the head of Sidon over to the city of Nephihah. And thus with their forces they were determined to maintain those cities which they had taken. And now it came to pass in the 2nd month of this year, there was brought unto us many provisions from the fathers of those my 2,000 sons. And also there were sent 2,000 men unto us from the land of Zarahemla. And thus we were prepared with 10,000 men and provisions for them, and also for their wives and their children. And the Lamanites, thus seeing our forces increase daily, and provision arrive for our support, they began to be fearful, and began to sally forth, if it were possible, to put an end to our receiving provisions and strength. Now, when we saw that the Lamanites began to grow uneasy on this side, on this wise, we were desirous to bring a stratagem into effect upon them. Therefore Antipus ordered that I should march forth with my little sons to a neighboring city, as if we were carrying provisions to a neighboring city. And we were to march near the city of Antipara, as if we were going to the city beyond, in the borders by the seashore. And it came to pass that we did march forth, as if with our provisions to go to that city. And it came to pass that Antipus did march forth with a part of his army, leaving the remainder to maintain the city. But he did not march forth until I had gone forth with my little army, and came near the city of Antipara. And now in the city of Antipara were stationed the strongest army of the Lamanites, yea, the most numerous. And it came to pass that when they had been informed by their spies, they came forth with their army and marched against us. And it came to pass that we did flee before them northward, and thus we did lead away the most powerful army of the Lamanites. Yea, even to a considerable distance, insomuch that when they saw the army of Antipus pursuing them with their might, they did not turn to the right nor to the left, but pursued their march in a straight course after us. And, as we suppose, it was their intent to slay us before Antipus should overtake them, and this that they might not be surrounded by our people. And now Antipus, beholding our danger, did speed the march of his army, but behold, it was night. Therefore they did not overtake us, neither did Antipus overtake them. Therefore we did camp for the night. And it came to pass that before the dawn of the morning, behold, the Lamanites were pursuing us. Now we were not sufficiently strong to contend with them. Yea, I would not suffer that my little sons should fall into their hands. Therefore we did continue our march, and we took our march into the wilderness. Now they durst not turn to the right nor to the left, lest they should be surrounded. Neither would I turn to the right nor to the left, lest they should overtake me. And we could not stand against them, but be slain, and they would make their escape. And thus we did flee all that day into the wilderness, even until it was dark. And it came to pass that again, when the light of the morning came, we saw the Lamanites upon us, and we did flee before them. But it came to pass that they did not pursue us far before they halted, and it was in the morning on the 3rd day of the 7th month. And now, whether they were overtaken by Antipus, we knew not. But I said unto my men, Behold, we know not, but they have halted for the purpose that we should come against them, that they might catch us in their snare. Therefore, what say ye, my sons? Will ye go against them to battle? And now I say unto you, my beloved brother Moroni, that never had I seen so great courage, nay, not amongst all the Nephites. For as I had ever called them my sons, for they were all of them very young, even so they said unto me, Father, behold, our God is with us, and he will not suffer that we should fall. Then let us go forth. We would not slay our brethren if they would let us alone. Therefore let us go, lest they should overpower the army of Antipus. Now they never had fought, yet they did not fear death, and they did think more upon the liberty of their fathers than they did upon their lives. Yea, they had been taught by their mothers, that if they did not doubt, God would deliver them. And they rehearsed unto me the words of their mothers, saying, We do not doubt, our mothers knew it. And it came to pass that I did return with my 2,000 against these Lamanites who had pursued us. And now behold, the armies of Antipus had overtaken them, and a terrible battle had commenced. The army of Antipus, being weary because of their long march in so short a space of time, were about to fall into the hands of the Lamanites. And had I not returned with my 2,000, they would have obtained their purpose. For Antipus had fallen by the sword, and many of his leaders because of their weariness, which was occasioned by the speed of their march. Therefore the men of Antipus, being confused because of the fall of their leaders, began to give way before the Lamanites. And it came to pass that the Lamanites took courage and began to pursue them. And thus were the Lamanites pursuing them with great vigor, when Helaman came upon their rear with his 2,000, and began to slay them exceedingly, insomuch that the whole army of the Lamanites halted and turned upon Helaman. Now when the people of Antipus saw that the Lamanites had turned them about, they gathered together their men and came again upon the rear of the Lamanites. And now it came to pass that we, the people of Nephi, the people of Antipus, and I with my 2,000, did surround the Lamanites and did slay them, yea, insomuch that they were compelled to deliver up their weapons of war, and also themselves as prisoners of war. And now it came to pass that when they had surrounded themselves up unto us, behold, I numbered those young men who had fought with me, fearing lest there were many of them slain. But behold, to my great joy, there had not one soul of them fallen to the earth. Yea, and they had fought as if with the strength of a god. Yea, never were men known to have fought with such miraculous strength, and with such mighty power did they fall upon the Lamanites, that they did frighten them, and for this cause did the Lamanites deliver themselves up as prisoners of war. And as we had no place for our prisoners, that we could guard them to keep them from the armies of the Lamanites, therefore we sent them to the land of Zarahemla, and a part of those men who were not slain of Antipus with them, and the remainder I took and joined them to my stripling Ammonites, and took our march back to the city of Judea. Now this is an interesting chapter. Fairly famous in the church, of course, the 2,000 Stripling Warriors, well-known story. But consider some of the things going on here. We have the strategy. We're going to leave Judea with the 2,000 men with the idea of making the Lamanites believe we're taking provisions. We're going west, due west to the coast. Going to go past the city of Antipara to this city over here. But when the Lamanites see us and they start pursuing us, they turn. Instead of going west, they turn north, and Antipus is following after them. And we begin this 3-day chase. The Lamanites see Antipus coming after him. They say, well, we got it. If we destroy the 2,000 there, then we can face these guys coming behind us. We get this 3-day chase. Antipus actually overtakes the Lamanites. It appears that Antipus has a forced march. He gets his men moving faster and probably longer. They're not sleeping as long because he's worried about Helaman. He wants to get to the Lamanites before the Lamanites get to Helaman. And he does, but his men are too tired to fight. Because of the forced march, they get there and they are exhausted. The Lamanites start winning. Antipus and many of his leaders are killed. Helaman then returns with his 2,000, and they fight with such power and strength that it scares the Lamanites into surrender. But notice here, in verse 52, I think 52, 53, and possibly 54, though just a couple of verses there, it shifts from first person, Helaman talking, this is the letter that Helaman wrote to Moroni, and then for 2 or 3 verses, we get third person, where we have Mormon talking. Now, is it that Mormon is condensing the letter of Helaman? Or is it that Helaman didn't give all the details and Mormon is filling in the details that Helaman didn't provide in his letter? And we get to this point and Mormon's saying, oh, well, let me explain this to you so you understand better what's going on, because Helaman just gives a kind of condensed version. We don't know. But it's an interesting thing that usually when there's a letter involved like this, Mormon just gives us the whole letter without any commentary, or at least he waits till the end, he gives the letter and then he makes a comment on it. But right here, he seems to fill in the blanks here, or possibly condense a portion of it. We're not sure exactly what he's doing, but it's interesting that we have that break in there. I'm going to leave this here, and we turn back to chapter 52 in our next video. So I will see you there.